Didn't even notice you guys there. I was too busy sweeping the card last week at UFC Vegas 113. How we doing, everybody? My name is Young Pasty, a.k.a. the White Boy Wonder, and you heard right. We swept the card last week, 4 for 4 on our bets, and we're looking to repeat success this week for UFC Houston. I got 4 bangers coming your way. Absolutely free, as we always do. So, you don't gotta pay for picks around here, okay? Young Pasty gives them to you for free. So White Boy gives them to you for free. All right, now, we gotta pull up the results from UFC Vegas 113 because I'm bragging about it so much. All right, here we go. 4 for 4, right? Bet number 1, Basharat and Wang Kong. Basharat had some sketchy moments. Ends up getting the win. We'll take it. So does Wang Kong, though. So it was a little bit of a sweaty bet number 1, but they come through for us. Bet number 2, Mario Bautista in over 6.5 minutes. Ooh, we played this to a T, guys, because Bautista ends up getting the finish, and we get that value at plus 100, and the fight ends slightly after that. So, lucky, and Bautista comes through for us. Thank you. 3-pick parlay of the week. Smacks. All right, that's 3 weeks in a row for the 3-pick parlay of the week. Olachechuk, Neal, and Kyoji. And then lastly, the over 1.5 rounds parlay. Brazil and Souza, Wang and Mora, and Albazi and Kyoji. We end UFC Vegas 113 plus 5.3312 units. Let's go. You guys know. And if you're new around here, I'll let you know. We pull out the boxing gloves. Every time we have a profitable week. And yeah, it was a good one. 4 for 4. Can't ask for any better than that. So let's look to repeat success this week for UFC Houston. We got 4 bets again. Well, is that the magic number? I don't know. All right. Now, again, if you're new around here, we sort these bets in confidence, okay? Bet number 1, that's always my most confident play of the week, and then it goes on down from there. So let's get to it, guys. The official bets for UFC Houston. Bet number 1. We are rolling with Alden Coria and Fluffy Hernandez. Anthony Hernandez. Minus 123. We're putting 2.5 units on it. I love this play. I like both of the matchups for both of these guys. Alden Coria taking on Luis Gurule. The little mini Sean Strickland who Fluffy Hernandez is going up against. Ironically, you're right, but Coria's training with the champ, Joshua Van. He just beat Alessandro Costa in honestly impressive fashion, right? Gets the finish in the 3rd round, and he looked damn good in the first 2 rounds. So, the movement, the constant switch stances, the jab, the power, and honestly, he's big. He's really big. He's got a big reach advantage and height advantage over Gurule. And man, Gurule has just flopped. He has, and I backed him the first fight versus Ode, gets slept, and then I realized, okay, this guy's kind of a fraud, and then I picked Jesus Aguilar over him. So yeah, I think Alden Coria can get the job done. I think he's legit, and I think he makes it look pretty easy. Might be a 29-28, but ultimately, again, he might get a finish from accumulation of damage because Luis Gurule, I mean, he, a little bit hittable, all right? And then Fluffy Hernandez. This dude, I mean, how many wins in a row? 7, 8, 9? And he is just running through people, man. I mean, now, he does have sketchy moments at first, right? Like, sometimes he just kind of, needs to get rocked for his, demon soul to wake up. This dude is a menace in the octagon. Just smothering pressure in your face, constantly going for takedowns. And the striking in the boxing is good, too. He will piece you up and hunt you down. He's no joke, okay? Like I said, he's a menace in the octagon. And Sean Strickland might be a little bit ring rusty, coming off that suspension. Wears a lot of damage, actually, when people punch him. And we saw DDP put Sean Strickland on the back foot, and he was doing some stupid stuff. And nevertheless, lost both of those fights. So I think Fluffy Hernandez can take a lot of aspects from those fights and then implement them into his own game, too. I mean, Fluffy Hernandez, do your thing. And I think he beats Sean Strickland, and I think he's up next for a title fight if he wins this fight. Am I wrong? What else does he have to prove? Who else does he have to go through? I mean, That's just my opinion. But two guys I have pretty good faith in. Alden Coria, Fluffy Hernandez, minus 123, 2.5 units. That's bet number 1 of the week. Let's go. All right, moving on to bet number 2. We are rolling with Yadier Del Valle and Melky Costa. Minus 118. We're putting 2 units on it. Del Valle taking on the Monkey King, Jordan Leavitt. Trying to make a comeback here in the UFC, but actually coming down in weight. I don't like this for him because Del Valle is a monster of a human being. And I know he took on Isaac Delgarian last time, who, there was a fixed fight and he threw the fight. But, prior to that, the Cuban problem was a problem. Dana White Contender Series fight was nice. He's big. He's strong. He can take people down. And I actually think that the grappling, the wrestling for both of them is kind of neutralize each other. It's going to be a striking match. And Del Valle is going to knock him out. Del Valle is definitely the more polished and better striker than Jordan Leavitt. I don't like Jordan Leavitt striking at all whatsoever. His groundwork's not bad, all right? I'll give it to him because you've seen he's got submission wins, but he also has submission losses, all right? That neck can get caught real easy. I love Del Valle inside the distance. I think that's like minus 160 or something like that, but we're just taking him on the money line. And then Melky Costa taking on Dan Ige. I think it's a 29-28. Melky takes the first 2 rounds and then drops the third round. He consistently drops the third round and shows fatigue in the third round. He really just needs to be defensively aware because that overhand of Dan Ige can knock you out cold. We've seen it multiple times, right? He can throw a shot. And Costa got knocked out by Garcia, right? Now Garcia is a much, I think, more powerful striker and ultimately better fighter than Dan Ige is, but Costa's been on a roll, all right? Five wins in a row, and then 4 of those wins against some pretty good competition, a variety of fighters, so he's seeing a bunch of different looks, and I don't know, there's something about being kind of an unpredictable fighter, right? He's such a well-rounded fighter, you really don't know what he's going to bring or kind of focus on in every single fight. So, we'll have to see what he brings. But, again, well-rounded fighter. I like what I see from all of them. Good kicks, really good in the clinch, jiu-jitsu. And the striking's not bad. He just kind of, needs to be, again, defensively aware. Because Ige's got that death touch sometimes. So, Del Valle, Costa, minus 118, 2 units. That is bet number 2 of the week. Let's go. All right, moving on to bet number 3, our 3-pick parlay of the week. We find 3 good legs, put them all together to get a good number. And this is what I got for you guys this week, all right? Fight to start round 2. Cornolle versus Edwards and John Paul versus Rowe. And then fight to start round 3 in the Strickland versus Hernandez fight. Minus 128. We're putting 1.5 units on it, guys. Bet number 3 has slapped 3 weeks in a row. If you could, please click that subscribe button for me down there. We are on the road to 400 subscribers, so I would really appreciate it if you could do that for me. Again, bet number 3 has slapped 3 weeks in a row, and we went 4 for 4 last week, okay? Anyway, bet number 3. Let's get into it. Fight to start round 2 in the Cornolle versus Edwards fight. These girls fought before, went to decision before. I kind of see the same thing happening again, or at least get to the freaking second round. I know Edwards has 2 KOs in her last 2 fights, but Priscilla Cachoeira and Chelsea Chandler, okay? 2 girls that are easily KOable, all right? Cornolle's not going to get blitzed or lit up in the first round here, and honestly, the last one there with Priscilla Cachoeira was nasty, right? But I just don't think that's going to be replicated here versus Cornolle because she's a dog. They've fought before. Cornolle's going to, she won before. She's going to want to win again. You know what I mean? So I just don't think either of them are going to find a finish in the first round. Secondly, John Paul versus Phil Rowe. Now, yes, John Paul, most of his fights have not gone into the second round. Yes, I'll give it to you there. But if you look at Phil Rowe's history here in the UFC, I think almost all his fights have gone to at least the second round, okay? And this is how I kind of see this fight. I think John Paul's going to win by decision, or at least there's going to be a lot of grappling exchanges, and John Paul's going to at least take the first round. Now, Phil Rowe, he's in the guard and on his back. He's so dang long and lanky. I know John Paul could potentially find a submission with those long arms and that big neck there, but Phil Rowe in all his grappling matches, even though he's like, I don't know, is he 1-6 in his grappling matches? He's not like necessarily getting finished too much. And in the UFC experience, right, when he's put on the back, he's not really getting finished early. People are holding him there and holding position, but he's not necessarily getting finished. And all I'm asking for is this fight to get to the second round. So maybe if John Paul doesn't have the 3-round gas tank, right, we could see him gas and Phil Rowe take over like we've seen him do in Phil Rowe fashion, right, getting those 3rd-round knockouts. So, but yeah, all I'm asking for is that fight to get to the second round, and I think we can get there pretty easy. Now, last one. Fight to start round 3 in the Strickland versus Hernandez fight. Now, God, come on. Both of these guys, Strickland especially, 5-round fighters, okay? And I'm not even asking for a full 3-round fight to be completed here, right? Just the fight to get to the 3rd round, to start the 3rd round, right? 2 full rounds of fighting, 3rd round starts, bang, this leg hits. Strickland goes 5 rounds multiple times, so I don't know. His last few fights definitely have DDP fights. He's tough and he can take a lot of damage. And Hernandez, same thing too. Now, as I said in bet number 1, right? The worry about Hernandez is kind of that first round. He can get rocked early, but just don't worry and freak out. Like, oh my gosh, it's going to get finished. Like, I don't know. Strickland doesn't like... I don't really want to hate on him too much here, but like he doesn't really have that finishing awareness, right? He can hurt and clock Hernandez early, but I don't think he's gonna like run and pounce on Hernandez to try and get the finish if that's if that actually happens. And then if so, I think Hernandez again has good recoverability. He can kind of find himself, go for wrap up a leg or get a takedown or just kind of hold him on the fence and get back to the fight and then get to that gritty, smothering in your face kind of style, but. I think he wins 4 out of the 5 rounds versus Strickland. Strickland might find success maybe 2nd, 4th round. But ultimately, I got Fluffy Hernandez taking it all 5 rounds. But all we're asking for here, fight to start 3rd round. So let's recap. Fight to start round 2. Cornolle versus Edwards and John Paul versus Rowe. Fight to start round 3. Strickland versus Hernandez. Minus 128. We're putting 1.5 units on it. That is bet number 3 of the week. Let's go. All right, moving on to bet number 4, our last bet of the video. We got Carly Judice minus 3.5 on the scorecards, plus Jeff Neal minus 115. We're putting 1.15 units on it now. Carly Judice minus 3.5 on the scorecards. That means she needs to win by at least 4 points if the fight goes to decision, or if she gets a finish, this fight automatically, or this leg automatically hits. So 4 points on the scorecard. What I'm thinking and anticipating, the 3 judges, we got a 30-27, a 30-27, and a 29-28. Maybe Juliana Miller sneaks around, right? But everyone's kind of anticipating a Carly Judice finish and KO, which is very, very live because Juliana Miller's striking is awful. But I don't know. My kind of thinking is maybe, again, Juliana could steal a round, right? And in the judges' scorecards with her grappling and holding, if she's able to get there with Carly Judice. But this backs us on a dominant fight and a finish. So we'll take Carly Judice minus 3.5 on the scorecards. And then Jeff Neal taking on Uros Medic. Guys, Jeff Neal is just battle-tested, been there, done that, and fought a lot better competition than Uros Medic. A lot of people, and I'll emphasize it too, right? Jeff Neal, he's sober now, okay? He was on drugs and alcohol and a bunch of wild crap. Now he's come clean. I think that's going to give him a lot better vision in the octagon. And Uros Medic, like, he just, I don't know. His wins really aren't that impressive to me. I don't think he's ranked material. I think Jeff Neal is kind of, I don't think they're giving him a layup here because he's only minus 218. But after the first round, if it gets there, it's Jeff Neal all day. And then Uros Medic doesn't really have the best chin either, okay? We've seen him get rocked and clocked and KO before too. So Jeff Neal is just the more better fighter, right? He's the more experienced and better fighter, and he's not much older than Medic, 3 years older, all right? So he's not taking the rankings of Jeff Neal here. I think Jeff Neal will get it done for us. So Carly Judice minus 3.5 on the scorecards, and Jeff Neal minus 115. We're putting 1.15 units on it. That is bet number 4 of the week. Let's go. All right, guys, if you have made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Appreciate your support. If you could, click that subscribe button for me. Again, we are on the road to 400 subscribers, so I would really appreciate it if you could do that for me. Just a little, sneak peek, I guess, a little tidbit. Guys, the Jacoby Smith and Josiah Harrell fight. If Josiah Harrell hits plus 300, I am going to put a bet on him, okay? No questions asked. I think if he gets to plus 300, that's enough for me to take a shot on him, maybe 0.5 or 0.75 units. So that's definitely possibly in my playbook. And then secondly, I am looking at a lot of props this week because we got 14 fights and there's a lot of plus money props that I might take small little darts on. So what I'm trying to say here is keep an eye on the pinned comment, keep an eye on the Twitter, and then keep an eye on the Patreon. That's where I update all of my bets if I put in any new ones. So that's where you can see, again, if Josiah Harrell hits plus 300, I am going to put a bet in on him, okay? No questions asked. So it's just that's my number, okay? If we don't get there, then we don't get there. You know what I mean? So and we won't worry about it. But we got 4 bets thus far. We went 4 for 4 last week, and I'm hoping to repeat success this week for UFC Houston. I'm super excited for the card. There's lots of great fights, and then 14 fights. Whew, we're going to be watching fights all night long, all right? So, Young Pasty, White Boy Wonder. Let's have a good week this week. Out. Let's go.